The life you have been carefully constructing to be smoother and more controlled is making you weaker. Not figuratively, physiologically, at the level of tissue and immune response and metabolic function. And the more successfully you protect yourself from variability and difficulty, the faster the process accelerates. You have been solving the wrong problem. You structure your days to minimize surprise. You eat at consistent times. You maintain regular sleep. You control your environment. You remove variables. Each individual decision is defensible. The aggregate effect is a body and a nervous system that have been quietly losing the capacity to handle anything outside the controlled range you have been maintaining. The absence of disruption is not health. It is the withdrawal of the signal that builds health. And by the time the signal has been missing long enough to matter, you have no way of measuring what you have lost because you have nothing to compare it to. You feel fine. You track your metrics. The metrics look stable. And the stability is the thing you should be worried about. The body does not maintain robust function because it rests. It maintains robust function because it is regularly pushed outside its current operating range and allowed to recover. The immune system does not stay competent through comfort. Blood glucose regulation does not stay precise through uniform eating patterns. The cardiovascular system does not stay responsive through predictable demand. The system maintains what the environment requires. Remove the requirement, and the system begins to down-regulate, gradually, without visible signal, until the requirement suddenly returns in a form the system is no longer equipped to handle. That is not a theory. It is the physical mechanism behind a pattern that has been documented across biological systems for a century, and you are running it on yourself right now. The concept is this: biological systems grow more robust through exposure to variable and unpredictable stress, not through protection from it. The technical name is hormesis. It means that a dose of something that would harm you in large quantities makes you stronger in small, irregular quantities, because it forces the system to adapt. But the word is less important than the mechanism. The mechanism is this: your body upgrades its capacity only in response to demand that exceeds what it currently has. When the demand is removed, the capacity is removed with it. Not all at once, in proportion to how long the demand has been absent. Think of it like a bridge. A bridge that is never subjected to weight or wind or temperature variation does not stay structurally sound. It becomes brittle in ways that cannot be seen from the surface. The moment real load arrives, the failure is sudden and appears inexplicable. To the engineers who examine it, the cause is obvious. The structure was never tested and therefore never maintained the capacity to carry anything real. Your routines and controls are the zero-load environment. They feel like maintenance. They are the opposite. In September 1991, 8 scientists sealed themselves inside Biosphere 2 in Oracle, Arizona. The structure is a closed ecological system, 3.14 acres under glass and steel in the Sonoran Desert. The experiment is designed to test whether a self-sustaining human habitat could support life independently of the outside world. The trees inside grow. They grow fast. Some species grow faster than they would outside. This is taken as a sign that the controlled environment is producing good conditions for growth. By the time the experiment concludes in 1993, many of the trees have begun falling over. Not from disease, not from pest. The wood is structurally weak. The trunks cannot support the weight of their own branches. The cause, when scientists examine it, is the absence of wind inside the sealed structure. Trees growing in natural conditions are subjected to constant irregular wind stress. This stress causes them to produce what is called reaction wood, a denser and structurally stronger form of wood that develops specifically in response to mechanical force. Without wind, the trees grew without producing reaction wood. The growth was real. The structural capacity the growth should have carried was missing because the stress that builds that capacity was missing. The Biosphere 2 trees were not sick. They were protected. And the protection removed the mechanism that produces the strength to stand. The mechanism is not unique to trees. It operates in every biological system that has been studied with enough attention to notice it. The Biosphere 2 story is surprising specifically because it is not the expected domain. Most people understand that muscles need stress to grow. Fewer people understand that the same principle applies to bone density, to immune specificity, to insulin sensitivity, to the brain's capacity for novel problem-solving, and to the structural integrity of connective tissue. In the 1960s and 1970s, orthopedic surgeons treating children with limb conditions began noticing that bones subjected to irregular mechanical loading during growth produced denser and stronger structures than bones protected from load. The clinical literature on this accumulated over decades. Bones that were immobilized during critical growth periods showed permanent reductions in density regardless of how much calcium or supplementation followed. The window for building structural capacity through stress had closed. You have been feeding the tree. You have not been giving it wind. Your digestion operates on a schedule because you eat on a schedule. Your immune system encounters the same narrow range of challenges because your environment is clean and controlled. Your cardiovascular system faces the same moderate and predictable demand because you have settled into a consistent routine. Your blood sugar regulation has been calibrated to your specific eating pattern and would struggle to handle a significantly different one. Each of these systems is functional within the range you have trained it to operate in. None of them is ready for something outside that range. And something outside that range will arrive. Not because you planned poorly, because that is the nature of a life that extends long enough to encounter genuine variability. The principle is this: introduce irregular, unpredictable stress across as many biological systems as you can and remove the protections that are preventing that stress from doing its work. This is not a training protocol. It is a reorientation of what health means at the structural level. A person who eats at irregular times, who encounters physical demands that vary in type and intensity, who is exposed to temperature variation, who encounters social and cognitive challenges without a prepared script, is not living a disordered life. They are running the conditions that keep the underlying machinery robust. In practice, this means deliberately removing some of the controls you have added, eating at different times, changing the demands you place on your body, exposing yourself to cold or heat or exertion in forms that your current routine does not include. Not because discomfort is a virtue, but because the specific systems that discomfort trains are the ones you will need when the unpredictable event arrives and finds you inside your carefully constructed range. What you give up is the belief that consistency is the same as health. Consistent metrics in a consistent environment tell you that the system is stable within that environment. They do not tell you what the system can handle outside it. Those are different measurements, and most people only take one of them. What you get is a body that encounters the genuinely difficult event, the illness, the physical demand, the metabolic challenge, and responds with the capacity that irregular stress built rather than failing at a threshold that a more protected life quietly lowered to meet you. You have been protecting yourself from the thing that keeps you functional. That protection is working exactly as designed. That which is used develops. That which is not used wastes away. Hippocrates, ancient Greek physician. The capacity you have been carefully not using has been going where all unused things go.